Cool. Thank you. What do you think, Jamar? Should we get this party started?
Hey, let's get this party started.
All right. So I just wanted to thank everybody for coming to Community Cooking with the Co-op, starring Jamar Ruff here at the Coos Head Food Co-op. If you guys want to find out about more virtual library programs, you can go to coosbaylibrary.org. You can also find out more about co-op programs at Jamar?
Coos Head, oh, sorry. Coos Head Food Coop, coosheadfood.coop online.
You can always Google Coos Head Food Co-op and it'll come right up. But they got lots of cool things going on. Some stuff coming up in 2021, I hear. Some raffles and stuff. Should be awesome.
Well, the co-op is turning 50 in 2021. So that is going to be really, really awesome.
Yep, that is awesome. And before we get started, I just wanted to recognize all the community work that Jamar does in this community. And today he was actually recognized for some of that work that he does. And I was hoping that Jen Schaefer here would comment on that, please.
Yes, I would be happy to.
Thanks, Jen.
Wash my hands. So there's a group out of Oregon and Northern California called the Rural Community Builder Network, and they allow you to nominate anybody who's an awesome community builder. So back in the summer, I nominated Jamar because of all of his community action work, his amazing work with HIV Alliance, with Q&A of Coos County, with Southern Oregon Coast Pride, and with our United Way board, and all the other stuff he does that I don't even know about that is just amazing. This work here is amazing. So it was really fun. I'll put a link to the video in the chat and you guys can watch it if you want.
Yeah, and what's the Facebook page? Is it Rural Community Builders of Oregon?
Oregon and Siskiyou Valley, I think. Or
yeah, but
yeah, I'll post it there.
Much deserved recognition. I just wanted to point that out because Jamar does a lot in our community. But thank you, Jamar. And right now Jamar, can you come over for the unmute?
Of course, yeah.
Right now I'm gonna mute everybody, but feel free to respectfully unmute while Jamar's cooking and ask questions. Also, you can put questions in the chat and Zion and I will feed them to Jamar. So right now I'm gonna mute everybody. But Jamar, excellent. It's all yours, sir.
Okay, so welcome everyone to Community Cooking with the Co-op. So tonight, as the recipe calls for, we are going to make two side dishes. So one of them is a Coos Head Brussels, which, yeah, they're really, really good. And then the world's best mash. With a name like that, I think sometimes when we look at simple things that may be simple to us, when you are introducing it to someone who is unfamiliar with Brussels sprouts or how to make mashed potatoes and keeping it simple, sometimes it can be a really big task. And I've heard so many times when people reflect to different cooking or different recipes, like, oh, what do you mean you don't know how to make this? You know, and it's a real thing. So we are going to give a different take on how to actually make Brussels sprouts and then also how to make mashed potatoes. And so starting out, we are going to start boiling our water so we can boil our potatoes. You can make a choice, a decision, because you get to make this recipe your own. So you can either peel the potatoes or not. I'm a fan of just like keeping the skin on, and I pick yellow potatoes and red potatoes. I like to mix it up a little bit. So I am going to use red potatoes, yellow potatoes, and how I did it was I boiled them. I cut them in half and boiled them. In my water that I have boiling, I added a drizzle of olive oil and a pinch of salt. And so if you want to see how the potatoes look.
Jamar, Leah had a good question. Should they be preheating the oven for the Brussels sprouts?
So the Brussels sprouts are not going in the oven.
Oh, good.
But you can't go ahead and go ahead and preheat your oven at 400 degrees because we are going to be roasting our walnuts. So this is how I have my potatoes. I cut them in about these sizes, this size.
Thank you. Did you say 400 on the oven?
Yeah, 400 degrees.
Oh,
We're just,
Zion
yeah.
put it in chat. Thanks, Zion.
Hey, thank you. Okay, so while that is going on, and I'm gonna take my time so that way, because we are cooking 2 different side dishes, so that way everyone is, this is a no chef left behind zone. So we are all crossing the finish line together, okay?
We are here for everyone, and we'll make sure you get it done.
Yes. So if you have not prepped
Hey,
your
Jamar,
Brussels sprouts,
this is Sarah and Joe. We came late. Are we supposed to be boiling potatoes?
excuse me?
Muted.
Oh, you're on.
Sorry, I was muted. Sarah, you can start boiling water in a pot with a drizzle of olive oil and a pinch of salt for the potatoes.
Okay, and so wow, and I'm gonna wait till everyone gets.
Oh, I think we're good.
Everyone gets to the same spot as far as the prep with the potatoes, and then having their water boil. So then when we move into the other thing, because we are multitasking here, while the potatoes are boiling, there's no reason to not move into Brussels sprouts. So that way, the goal is to have everything finished at the same time.
You're not going to eat all your holiday sides one at a time, right?
Hey, try not. Whenever there's Brussels sprouts in the kitchen, and there is like, I have to. The goal is to taste your food, okay?
Sounds good to me.
Sarah and Joe, there. She doesn't have her picture.
Okay. So where's everyone with their potatoes?
Is everybody boiling their potato water?
Okay.
Looking good.
So I went ahead on and boiled my potatoes and things like that. So while everyone is getting to that point, I'm gonna be drinking some water and staying hydrated and dancing, because no one should be in a quiet kitchen when they're cooking. It's that's just not right. That's just, especially around the holidays. I know when it comes time for either cooking Christmas dinner or Thanksgiving dinner, everyone is literally in the kitchen. We're dancing. There's jokes being told, walking down memory lane, and creating even more memories.
Awesome.
Cooking potatoes, I'm way ahead of everybody, but it's gonna take forever.
Ahead's good.
in the house.
Okay.
I wanted to make it go on.
All right. So where's everyone with their potatoes?
Is everybody doing good with the potatoes?
Okay, so I'm gonna start going into the Brussels sprouts prep, right? So what I did was I cut the ends because sometimes it stands out a little bit, and I just cut them in half. Cut them in half.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, good job, Jamie. Good job. Okay. So I did that. I have the recipe calls for. Let's see. The recipe calls for 4 cups. I cannot just cook 4 cups of Brussels sprouts, and I have to cook for the crew here. So I have way more than what the recipe calls for, but that is okay.
Jamar's got to feed the crew.
I have to. Okay, and so in a whole nother pot, this is where the vegetable stock comes in, and this is where your lidded pot comes in. So
So we can drain them and let them sit in.
So what I did was I measured out
Water in there so that
I measured out a cup of veggie stock.
It's kind of important to get them out.
Because I never use water to whenever I'm like steaming something. I just always I have to add flavor every chance that I can. So I'm gonna put a cup of veggie stock in the bottom of my pan. And at this point I have already started my Brussels sprouts. Well, not started my Brussels sprouts, but prepped my Brussels sprouts.
So what size pan are you using for the Brussels sprouts?
I am
Oh.
using
Like a pot? Okay.
this size pan, and so I always have a little bit extra veggie stock on the side, just in case I have it up too high. These are things that you run into when you're cooking in the kitchen. Sometimes the recipe calls for a cup of veggie stock, and you have your pot so high up to where all of your veggie stock gets evaporated. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a little bit left on the side to where we can add some as needed. Okay.
Cool. Sounds good. Everybody doing good? Anybody have any questions? No cook left behind here.
No cook left behind. So I'm going to go ahead and start adding my my Brussels sprouts to my veggie stock.
Add your sprouts to your veggie stock.
And I have it on a medium heat.
Jamar, are you going to be drinking a growler of beer tonight?
No. So the growler is just for everybody to know that we do have kombucha here on tap. But if you don't have a Coos head growler, come on down and get you one.
Nice.
Okay.
I have a question on the Brussels sprouts. We're putting them in the veggie stock to steam them, or we're doing it above the veggie stock?
Oh, we're gonna
Inside.
put it in there to yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
You're going to dunk them.
Well, it's really shallow. You just don't want to put it in a dry pot. So what I've seen is sometimes, like if I'm cooking veggie stock, if I'm cooking the Brussels sprouts like this, in this way, and I don't add the veggie stock, and if I add olive oil, sometimes it'll char the Brussels sprouts. Hi.
Don't want that.
Okay. So now I am going to start prepping my onion. So I have the onion, and the recipe for the Brussels sprouts called for a half a cup of onions. And so, whoa. So I am gonna finely chop my onions, because the thing is, when the Brussels sprouts become soft enough, we're not gonna cook them all the way done. But when the Brussels sprouts become soft enough, we're gonna remove them from the pot, put them to the side, and in the same pot in which they were roasting with the veggie stock, we're gonna add our garlic, and we're gonna add our onions, and then we're gonna throw them back in there just to saute them with some olive oil.
They don't want mushy Brussels sprouts.
No. And we're gonna incorporate the walnuts in there as well. So this is gonna be a really dynamic.
Nice, extra crunch.
Duo. Yeah.
Anybody have any questions at this point?
I have a question. I'm sorry, my
No.
internet connection is unstable.
No problem.
Did they say to put the onions and the parsley and the garlic and the pan?
No. So right now, at this point, we have our potatoes boiling, and then we also have our Brussels sprouts steaming.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. So we're just not at that point. So if you want to go ahead, I don't know if you have your onions prepped or not, but you can go ahead and start prepping your onions while everything starts getting ready. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
And was that a fine chop on the onions?
Yes. And I'll show you how I did my onions, because we're cooking them down. So we're gonna saute our onion.
You see that, Leia?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Zion's putting some of the notes in the chat box too.
Okay. How's everybody doing? Okay, thumbs up. I'm loving this. Okay. So while everything is starting, I have laid out my Brussels sprouts, not my Brussels sprouts, my walnuts. I have them on a cookie sheet. with some parchment paper.
Nice.
And so whenever you are roasting, trust me, I have forgotten about them. So a timer in the kitchen is just essential, okay? Especially when you're listening to music and having so many different moving parts in a recipe. It's important to have a timer. So I will, if we all put it in there at the same time, I will keep track of the time.
Sounds like a plan.
And ovens should be preheated to 400 at this point.
Yeah, for those that came in late, start preheating your oven at 400. And feel free to unmute to ask questions or put them in the chat box.
And I have not chopped my walnuts either.
They're just whole pieces.
Yeah. Well, I got them in the bulk section here at the co-op, so they're halved already. But
Oh, okay.
we're gonna do like a rough chop, a sprinkle. So.
But not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
So if your oven is preheated to 400 degrees, I'm gonna go ahead and pop mine in there. Is everybody else at that same point? Okay.
Looks good.
All righty. Ooh, now if you are cold, that is what I needed.
The oven.
Okay, so I am gonna put 6-minute timer on them. Okay.
So Jamar, you just put the walnuts in the 400-degree oven for 6 minutes?
Yes, and I have a timer set here, so I'll remind everyone about their walnuts, okay?
Perfect.
Okay, so I am prepping my garnishes and everything, because when everything finishes boiling.
What's that face, Jen?
Yeah, what's going on?
You're muted.
What? So our veggie stock was frozen, so now it's not frozen. I throw the Brussels sprouts in.
Yeah.
And for how long?
So we're just gonna steam them until they get all al dente. We're not cooking them all the way because we're gonna stir fry them a little bit more. So you don't want them to be completely steamed.
Okay, sorry, thank you.
So I will remind you to check on your Brussels sprouts, okay?
Appreciate it.
Okay. Okay. So,
Jamar, is that your carrot?
no. So because it was at the beginning of the month of December, it was World AIDS Day, and I have a red ribbon because that's what it signifies. So I've been wearing it all month long.
Cool. So maybe we'll see the carrot next month.
Yes.
Okay, good.
I think I need to start like changing it up.
But we missed the carrot.
Hey, some people are like, Jamar, where's your carrot at? I'm like, okay, this is getting out of control.
I thought it was just me.
No, it's not. So what I have is my garlic. I am going to go ahead and start peeling my garlic, and I have fresh garlic that I'm going to incorporate. Now, there was questions whether you can roast your garlic and put them in your mashed potatoes. You do have that option, and if you would like to do that, we can do that now, or you can just use fresh garlic and finely chop and add them into your mashed potatoes. So what are people thinking?
What do people prefer?
The goal is to make this recipe your own. So if y'all are chefs, and if you're thinking, you know what, I want some roasted garlic, sounds really good in mashed potatoes, then do it. You know, we have that option. With the recipes we're doing, it's not recipes. You know, the goal is to make them your own. You get an ingredients list, and anything that you would like to incorporate, you can. Like Cindy is not doing the potatoes. She's doing sweet potatoes because she's not a fan of potatoes. So we just had to think. I was like, oh, of course you can. You know, so think outside of the box when it comes to these things.
Cool. So what does everybody prefer? Should we roast them, the garlic, or not? Go ahead, Sarah.
Jamar, can you just give a really quick overview of what's happening again?
Yeah.
Thanks, Sarah. Everybody probably needs it.
Okay. So a quick overview of what's going on. Right tonight, we are making Brussels sprouts, Coos-head Brussels, and potatoes. Okay. Oh, brief. Okay, so right now we have the potatoes boiling. We have the Brussels sprouts. Okay, we have Brussels sprouts steaming in veggie stock. Then after that, we have our walnuts in the oven roasting. Okay, and now we've already prepped our onions to be sauteed in the Brussels sprout. Okay, and then the next thing that we're about to start prepping is the garlic. So if you want to roast the garlic.
Okay. Cool. I thought I missed something. Thank you.
Oh no! And thank you for asking.
Yes. And
So
good
is
work
everybody-
with the gestures, Sarah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, yeah, I got you.
Totally.
So if you wanna roast your garlic, you can. Just you can drizzle olive oil and put it in another cooking pan, and just pop it in the oven, and it'll roast. So what you would have to do is, if that is what you want to do with the garlic, I'm a fan of baba ganoush, so with your baba ganoush, you always roast your garlic and your eggplant together. And so whenever I'm doing it, I'm going to cut like this off the top and then pop it in the oven like that. So then it'll be easy to like push it all the way out. Garlic, if that's what you want to do.
Just don't do it in your hand like that.
Yeah, don't do it in your hand like that. Put it on a cutting board and take your
Ooh.
time.
I'm seeing a future one where we need to do baba.
Baba ganoush. Fun fact, when I started at the co-op, I primarily made the salsas and the guacamoles and things. That was what I used to do.
Nice.
It was pretty cool.
Awesome. I love baba ganoush.
Okay. So if everybody would like to check their potatoes.
How's everybody's potatoes doing?
Yeah, mine were ready. I took them off just now.
Okay.
Thanks.
And okay. Perks of wearing glasses in the kitchen. Whenever there's tea, you can't see. Okay, my timer just went off for my walnuts.
So if you put your walnuts in at the same time as Jamar, the 6 minutes is up. And thank you. Jen just put in a link to the Facebook page that has the video of Jamar getting the recognition for all his community work today.
Okay, so that's that. So I'm going to finally chop my garlic.
So Jamar's finally chopping the garlic.
But if you wanted to roast it, you can, and I will walk you through that process as well.
So holler if you need help.
Now that reminded me of back home. You said holler.
I say y'all a lot too, but I'm not from the South. I just like contractions.
Jamar, where are you from?
I'm originally from Georgia, South Georgia. My hometown is Roberta, Georgia. I live in Atlanta a lot, but I am definitely from the South.
Hey, Jamar, how do you spell Mississippi?
M-I, cricket letter, I, cricket letter, I, humpback, I. There
That's
we go.
right. That's the only way to spell Mississippi.
Thank you. You know, when I spelled that, people were like, Jamar, like, what? That is not, I have not heard of that. I'm like, okay. Somebody, I know that is a thing. That's the only way to remember how to spell it.
I don't think I've ever heard that one before.
That's because you're not from the South, Paul.
True.
Hey, it's a southern thing.
I guess
It's a southern
so.
slang. Okay. All right. I'm checking on my Brussels sprouts.
Yeah, don't forget to check your Brussels sprouts. Don't want to overcook them.
Oh,
Do the walnuts get olive oil?
now,
Okay.
Good question.
sometimes you would think that when it goes into the oven, olive oil sometimes is the best thing, but sometimes, like with acorn squash, I just roast it just like that with no olive oil, and I always turn them down so that way they steam up. But yeah, with the nuts, pecans or anything like that, and you also don't always have to roast them in the oven. You can toast them on top of the stove. You just have to really watch them because they will burn really quickly. Okay. So I have my garlic already prepped. I have my green onions. Okay. Woo. So my Brussels are ready at this point. You know, we're not gonna have them fully done. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put them on the side. I'm gonna remove them, and I have a bowl. I'm gonna remove them from my pot.
So go ahead and remove your Brussels sprouts from the pot. Maybe put them in a bowl or something.
Said nobody wants you. And I am listening to Leon Bridges' playlist on Pandora. It is really awesome. So if you have not ever listened to Leon Bridges, I would suggest go and listen to him. So I don't.
Anybody have any questions at this point?
For
Did you
everyone.
say to put the Brussels sprouts in a bowl?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
So did you
Thanks, Leah.
smell? Am I the only one that is smelling how good the Brussels sprouts smell? Just steaming them in veggie stock.
I see a thumbs up from Patrick there.
I'm jealous because I can't eat them. The recipe sounds so good with those roasted walnuts.
Oh yes.
It's an allergy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they still appeal to me though, which is unfortunate.
Yes. It's like me and dairy. Love it, but just can't eat it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Those Brussels sprouts, they just come alive when they're steamed. And so in that same pot, I have it dry now. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use olive oil. I'm gonna drizzle olive oil in the bottom of the pan.
Is this a shallow pan we're using now, or?
Well, if you're using the same pan that you that's the same pot. Hey, sorry, child. The same pot. Sorry, the same pot that we cooked our Brussels sprouts in, because the flavor is still in the pot. What's the point of messing up more dishes?
Nice. Did you just say hi to Star Child?
Yeah.
Tell her Paul says hi from the library.
Hi, Star. You know, Star Child is. Hey, Paul from the library says hello.
Oh, great. Yeah, thank you.
She said Merry Christmas to you.
Yeah, happy holidays, Star Child.
Oh, yeah, thank you, Paul.
We haven't seen each other in probably a year or two.
I've been thinking about you lately because I've needed some help on the computer, but I figured it out.
You can always give me a call.
Oh, thank you so much.
So I have my olive oil in the bottom of my pan, and in that I'm putting 2 tablespoons of garlic, the chopped garlic, and then I'm doing onions. So what we're gonna do in order is we're gonna put onions first, chopped onions first. We're not gonna put the olive oil in the garlic in there first because garlic cooks and will burn really, really easily. So that is a rule of thumb. So I'm gonna add the onions in there first. I'm gonna cook them a little bit longer, and then I'm gonna add my 2 tablespoons of garlic.
Jamar, Jen asked, do we save veggie stock or discard before putting olive oil and onions?
Yeah, you can discard or you can put it to the side. I'm pretty sure you can incorporate it into another meal. There's no reason.
Thanks, Jen. Good question.
Okay. so I'm sauteing my onions.
Laura's got a friend helping her.
And we're gonna let the onions and the garlic just marry, okay?
A couple friends. What you putting in there, Jamar?
So I put my onions in there first, and then once I have my onions sauteing and I'm gonna get them started, then I add my garlic. If you put fresh garlic in a hot pan where there's olive oil involved, garlic cooks so quickly, so you need something to at least reduce the heat. So if you put the onions in there and saute the onions first, then add your garlic, you're in the clear.
Oh, that was chopped garlic you just spooned in there?
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Thank you.
And so in my pot right now that I'm sauteing, I have a half a cup of onions, and then I have a tablespoon of chopped garlic.
Cool. How's it taste, Jamie?
Are you eating Brussels?
She's tasting something.
So we have.
Oh, I think she's got mashed potatoes there. You know, Jamie's always ahead of the game.
Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna just let those cook with the onions. I'm gonna let the onions and the garlic just saute for a little bit. I have it on medium heat, but before I put my Brussels sprouts in there, I want to make sure that the onions are at a good place for me to do that. So now, while that is cooking, while that is cooking, the next thing I am going to do is I have a small saucepan.
Small
And
saucepan.
so, hey, how are you? And so in that saucepan, I am going to put a cup of heavy cream, and a half a stick of butter. And so for those who are vegan, I have options. So if you ever look at all of this stuff that is up here, these are different variations of the recipes that you can use. So we have Earth Balance, which is not GMO, and vegan butter, So there's ways that you can incorporate it to appeal to so many different people that are going to be eating with you.
Cool. Thanks, Jamar.
Make sure you're moving those onions around. I'm getting
Stir that
so
pot.
excited.
What's that, Jamar?
I'm getting so excited. So in my saucepan, I am going to add a cup of heavy whipping cream. And then I'm going to add some butter.
Did you say half a stick?
Yes, half a stick of butter.
Those are going to be some creamy potatoes, huh?
So the thing about them is, you're not just gonna pour this mixture you're not gonna just pour the mixture into the mashed potatoes. You're gonna gradually add it so that way you don't add too much liquid to your mashed potatoes.
Right. Oh, Jamar,
Yes.
Jamie asked, which pan is this going into? That's the small saucepan.
We have a saucepan. So just a small saucepan, and this is what I have.
Thanks, Jamar.
Okay. And this is where my butter and my heavy whipping cream is going.
And Leah wanted to know if we need to save the potato water.
No, you do not.
Good question.
But you can always reuse potato water. You don't necessarily have to throw it down the drain. If you have a garden or something like that, you can keep it going. Okay. So now I'm going. Oh, these onions and garlic is just smelling like delicious.
And note that Laura's enjoying a glass of wine while she cooks. you can only do that at virtual library programs.
Yes. And so I have.
Imbibe if you like. Jen's like, yeah.
Okay, I see you, Sarah.
Oh, okay. Whiskey.
Okay, so my onions are looking really good. Right now I have my heavy whipping cream and my butter going. I have that under medium. I'm not trying to boil it. Take your time with your food. There's no rush.
So just a quick question. So you were the onions and garlic for the Brussels sprouts or for the potatoes?
So the onions and garlic was for the Brussels sprouts.
Okay, and then the cream and butter.
Yes.
Is for the potatoes.
Now, say for instance, for the mashed potatoes on the recipe sheet, it calls for a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic. But if you wanted to turn that into a 1/2 tablespoon of roasted garlic or fresh garlic, you could. So in the potatoes, we're doing a 1/2 cup of onion powder, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, and 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Now I already have all of those laid out for myself, and the salt is always on the side because while we're tasting our food, then we're going to add salt as needed. One thing I've learned is that people are already going to salt their food, so you don't necessarily have to add salt to everything, especially when you start playing with different seasonings and different herbs as well.
Does that answer your question, Cheyenne?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so now in my mixture with the onions and the garlic, I'm gonna now add my Brussels sprouts back over there, and I'm gonna saute those as well.
This is where it's really going to start smelling good.
Did you say we're gonna saute the Brussels sprouts?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're gonna add your Brussels sprouts to the onions and the garlic.
Good question.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So now with my now I'm gonna add my black pepper. Now you can, if you feel like black pepper is a little too spicy, please add with precaution. Now the recipe calls for a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and I already have everything laid out on my handy dandy plate. Everything already measured out. So that is the only seasoning that we're adding to the Brussels sprouts. Because in the Brussels sprouts, they call for toasted sesame oil, and it calls for lemon. Okay. Now I've added that, and I'm going to stir that around.
So you just added pepper and you're stirring, right?
Okay. And I'm gonna keep sauteing that. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring my potatoes over.
Bring your potatoes over.
Yes. Jamie, look at you.
What the? Yum. Ha. Good
Thank you
job.
for suggesting such a wonderful dinner. I actually knew how to do all these things because I cook Thanksgiving dinner and Christmas dinner for all my family every year. But I just wanted to let you know that I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
Thanks, Jamie. Always a pleasure. We'll see you next month.
Bye.
See you, Mike.
Bye. Enjoy your dinner.
Yes, and if you guys finish ahead of others, feel free to cut out and eat your meal. We want you to eat while it's hot.
But the goal is to plate and to take a photo because we post all of our photos.
Yes, please send us photos. You can send them to Jamar or myself.
So in my mashed potatoes, the seasonings that I'm gonna put on the side are, I have onion powder and garlic powder and black pepper. So I have a fourth of a teaspoon of garlic or garlic powder, a fourth of a teaspoon of onion powder, and then a fourth of black pepper.
Hey, Jamar, could you turn the music down just a hair?
Of course.
I think sometimes it cuts you out.
I just cut it down. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm adding my seasoning because right now I have my butter and my heavy cream joining.
I put the rosemary in with the cream and butter.
No, so the rosemary is super aromatic. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna wait to put the rosemary in it, and it only takes a little bit because you don't want the rosemary to overpower the mashed potatoes and everything that you're adding into it.
Good question, Cindy. Hold off on the rosemary.
Jamar, Joe hates rosemary. Do you have an idea for a replacement herb?
So you can either, do you have fresh parsley? So parsley can be used as a garnish, but if you finely chop your parsley, you can mix it into your mashed potatoes.
Oh.
Well, just keep a little bit to the side because the goal is to eat with your eyes, and you're gonna sprinkle some on top.
Good question, Sarah.
Okay, so now I'm going to add my my cream, but I'm only starting out with a little bit. So I'm not pouring the whole thing in because we wanted to start with a little bit and start building it up until it reaches that right texture. Okay, so
Cool.
I'm just a little bit first, and then I'm going to start mashing.
So add a little of your cream and start mashing. I don't think there's many foods that are better than mashed potatoes.
You know what? I agree with you.
Can't go wrong.
And as you're seeing, as you mash your mashed potatoes, a little bit of cream goes a long way. So once you, I still have about half a cup in my pot, so I'm gonna add a little bit more, but it reaches that right consistency, and then we're gonna start tasting it. So make sure you have your handy dandy spoon on the side.
Jamar, how do folks know if they need more cream?
So how mine is, and I'm gonna put it on a.
Thank you.
So, do you see how compact?
Keep coming.
You see how
Nice.
compact that mashed potato is? So what I'm gonna do is, I love it, but I'm gonna add a little bit more of the heavy cream in the butter.
Cool, thank you.
And so we have not added salt to it. So this is where you start, you're tasting your mashed potatoes and you're seeing exactly what needs to be added, right? So if you need to add a little bit more salt, please feel free to do that. And make sure you are still checking on your Brussels sprouts that you have sauteing with your onions and garlic.
And we have earbuds on the way for Jamar. So next month, his mic will travel with him. We should have much better sound. Got a lot of thumbs up there.
Oh, wow. Okay, and so have you ever made mashed potatoes and they become hard as a brick? I don't know if you've ever have, but I have. So the reason why we heat up our cream and our butter is so that way it doesn't get hard. If I were to use cream straight out of my fridge without this process, then my mashed potatoes would have been a little bit more thicker. And then by the end of the night, it would have been like hard as a brick. And you're like, okay, I need to add something else to this. So.
Good tip. I would have never known that.
Oh my.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I definitely have never heard of doing that. So thank you.
He's got all these little tricks and tips up his sleeve.
Hey, nothing is original. I always ask questions and I'm eager to learn. So I have not tasted my mashed potatoes yet.
That's why you know so much.
Mm. Okay, let me add some. Add a little bit of salt. Okay.
And
Now,
if people could take pictures, Jamar and I really appreciate it. And you all have my email in your Zoom registration. It starts with paddis@coosbaylibrary.org. Please send us pics.
and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of red rosemary out, and I'm going to start finely chopping.
Finely chop the rosemary. Or
And
the
Joe, I
parsley.
know that you hate rosemary, so you can chop your parsley. And as you start chopping your rosemary, you'll start smelling how fragrant it is. And
How's
you
everybody
can
doing?
add a half of a tablespoon, and I'm going to add my rosemary to it.
And you're just stirring in the rosemary right now, right? Okay. How's it smelling now?
So what we're going to do is reduce the heat on your Brussels sprouts. All I'm going to do is I'm going to start plating this.
I'm gonna go, you guys. Have a wonderful night. Thanks again. I'll
Thanks,
see-
Cheyenne. Enjoy. Good to see you again.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Oh, they're like just so fluffy. Okay, sorry. And so in the recipe, you can either garnish with green onions, or you can garnish with parsley. So
Your coworkers are going to be stoked.
okay, so I have my garnishes. Oh, so this is how my mash looks.
Nice. Beautiful.
Okay, so have the mash. And so I'm cleaning my area as I go.
Laura, can we see again?
Huh?
Thank you. Nice work.
Oh, nice work.
I was recording in speaker view the first time, so I wanted to catch it on the recording.
Okay, so now I'm going to grab my Brussels sprouts, and I'm gonna pull them out of the pan out of the pot that I'm sauteing, and I'm getting ready to start plating.
Cool.
They look amazing.
Jen wants to know if this is when the lemon juice comes in.
Oh, yes, it is, and where the sesame oil comes in as well.
Nice. Good question, Jen. Jamie asked if you already chopped the walnuts.
Not yet, because the walnuts are going to be a garnish. I wanted to make sure that the Brussels sprouts was ready and being plated. Okay.
We're almost there, Jamie.
Cleaning around my plate. Okay, so now we're gonna start chopping our walnuts. And I'm doing a rough chop because we're gonna drizzle that across the top of the Brussels sprouts.
Nice. Getting hungry, Jamar.
Hey, we're almost there.
I'm gonna be wishing I had these sides when I'm eating my dinner tonight.
Hey. And also, everyone, at the end of the class, we're going to sing happy birthday to Paul because his birthday just passed. And me and Zion both agreed that we should definitely do it. We should definitely do it. So once we reach the finish line, then we're going to unmic. But, well, we're going to unmute. We're not there yet, though. So I am now going to drizzle my walnuts. Oh. So this is how it looks so far. We're not done yet.
Wait, what are we drizzling the walnuts with?
We're drizzling the walnuts over the Brussels sprouts, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Oh,
We're not done yet, though.
that looks awesome.
In the recipe, it calls for a lemon and it calls for sesame oil, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so first, we are going to drizzle. And the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of sesame oil. What I have is a tablespoon, and I'm going to drizzle over the top of the Brussels sprouts.
Wait, which one are you putting on now?
I'm putting sesame oil first.
Oh, sesame oil, okay.
Yes, I have toasted sesame oil, and I'm a fan, so I'm just going to put a little bit more. So now, the lemon, I'm going to roll it out. And I'm going to go across. And now,
Nice. Yum. Good job, chef. Oh, wait, let me go back to gallery view. Who was just sharing? Share again. Who was that? Oh, thank you. Thank you all. Nice work. Good job. Oh, nice. We get to see in the oven and everything. Hey, Wendy, what did you just post in the chat?
oh, you have to unmute, Wendy.
I got screwed up. I was trying to save that link to Jamar so I could look at it later, the award. And I don't know, I got screwed up there, but so just cancel that. But I also put, God, this looks so good. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Oh, this
Totally.
meal is wonderful.
Wendy, would you like me to email you a link?
Yes.
Okay. Are you on Facebook?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I'll try to find you tomorrow and send you a link to that.
Oh, thank you.
And I did, because we did use a lemon, and it's all about eating with your eyes. I have parsley that I'm putting on top, and then.
Nice.
Oh my God.
Yes, agreed.
Thank you, everybody. It looks delicious, Jamar. You're a hit. You are so entertaining and easy to follow.
Thanks for coming.
See you
And
at
if you
the
guys want to
store.
make this later, I should have it on the library's YouTube channel by tomorrow or Monday at the latest.
Okay, thanks so much. You're
Yeah.
really well done. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for coming. Have a good night, y'all.
You too.
Yes, please feel free to bail if you're ready to eat.
I'm ready to cook my Brussels sprouts. Okay, thank you, everybody. Thanks, Jamar.
Yeah, thanks, Wendy. Take care.
Next time. Bye.
Awesome.
Bye. Okay, Jen.
Oh, yeah.
that was
Good job.
good.